Gandhi belonged to the timeless lineage of great leaders who have guided humanity through troubled times. His place is secure among a small handful of historical personages that are our common heritage. His life and work continue to provide inspiration to a world weary of war and plagued by violent strife. This film is a shorter rendering presenting the distilled essence of Mahatma, a much longer archival film by Vittalbhai K. Jhaveri, an eminent Gandhian scholar. This offering of evocative images and words has been specially prepared for this occasion, as the United Nations commemorates the Apostle of Nonviolence by celebrating the anniversary of his birth as International Nonviolence Day and rededicating itself to the ideal of nonviolence.
I do dimly perceive that whilst everything around me is ever changing, ever dying, there is underlying all that change a living power that is changeless, that holds all together, that creates, dissolves, and recreates. That informing power or spirit is God. For I can see that in the midst of death, life persists.
Over 1 million people lined the roads, braving the cold, ignoring personal safety, to catch a last glimpse of the one they simply called Mahatma Gandhi. The world mourned a great soul, but countless Indians grieved the loss of Bapu, a father to the masses. The United Nations flew its flag half-mast. Tributes poured in from all over the world.
It is fitting that we who sit here charged with the grave responsibility of maintaining peace among nations should pay tribute to this great Indian leader.
His tragic death constitutes as grievous a loss to Pakistan as it is to India.
He was the man who said that faith transcends reason, that God has his footstool where live the poorest and the loneliest and the lost. But our conviction that Gandhi has not lived and has not died in vain.
We have lost our biggest man. If I may venture to say so, the world has lost its tallest man judged by all moral standards.
The world was united in mourning. His extraordinary life began by the Sea of Oman at Porbandar, in the state of Gujarat, on the western seaboard of India. Mohandas was born on 2nd October 1869. His father, Karamchand, was the Diwan, Prime Minister of the Porbandar Principality. He was a man who valued virtue more than wealth. His mother, Putalibai, was a devout housewife who instilled in her children a high sense of moral conduct. Gandhiji's father moved to Rajkot, where he had his early schooling. At home, the Ramayana was recited daily, stimulating the young mind to ponder over good and evil. When an itinerant entertainer brought a magic lantern to Rajkot and held performances, Gandhiji was fascinated by the story of Sravan Kumar, a youth devoted to his old parents. A play, Harishchandra, which told the story of a noble king committed to truth despite painful ordeals, left an indelible imprint on his mind. Gandhi married Kasturbai at 18, a bond that lasted over 6 decades. After his matriculation, he left for England to qualify as a barrister in 1888. Beginning a new chapter in what was to be an exceptional life. In England, Mohandas found himself completely at sea. He tried adjusting by imitating the English. He dressed dapperly and took dance lessons, acquiring a large circle of friends. But a vow to his mother that he would not touch meat, wine, or women made life in England a social challenge. His strict vegetarianism led him to cook himself and gravitate towards fellow vegetarians. He even contributed articles on the subject in periodicals. It was in England that Gandhi read Song Celestial, Edwin Arnold's poetic translation of the Bhagavad Gita. This drew him to the original text. The message of the Gita, to discharge one's duty without coveting the fruits of one's actions, was to be a lifelong guiding light. Gandhi also read the Bible and was deeply moved by the New Testament. He also studied the Holy Quran as to the teachings of Zarathustra. His dormant spiritual yearnings rose to the surface. His spiritual vision of universal love based on truth was nurtured by a deep empathy for all religions and his inclusive humanism. He studied diligently, reading even Roman law in original Latin, and could, with a clear conscience, report his academic progress to his family. In 1891, the English sojourn was over. Gandhi set sail for India. He joined the bar at the Bombay High Court, but did not immediately make a mark. When offered a brief in Durban, he readily embarked for South Africa. Alighting from the ship, he had an instant taste of racial discrimination, not experienced by him before. He got a worse dose when on the way to Pretoria. He was ordered off the train at Pietermaritzburg. The seeds of non-violent resistance were sown in his mind. In South Africa, young Gandhi imbibed the writings of Rousseau, Thoreau, and Tolstoy. He related the new ideas to the harsh realities around him. From Thoreau and Tolstoy, he received the inspiration to use non-violent civil disobedience to counter racial discrimination in South Africa. Gandhi founded the Natal Indian Congress. He established contact with the Indian National Congress back home, seeking support for his work in South Africa. He visited India in 1896 and met Indian leaders like Sir Firozshah Mehta, Lokmanya Tilak, and Gopal Krishna Gokhale. It was Gokhale who became his mentor. While Gandhi was fascinated by the swirling freedom struggle in India, his work in South Africa remained unfinished. On his return, he resumed the struggle to restore dignity to his compatriots and to liberate them from exploitation. He was repeatedly humiliated and even brutally assaulted. The ordeals, ever increasing, failed to daunt him or to break his spirit. Gandhi advanced professionally, but remained dissatisfied. He began to live Spartanly, yearning to serve fellow men. He longed to do humanitarian work. This led him to join as a paramedic in the Boer War. His courageous work under fire won him a war medal. Simultaneously, he pursued the path of peaceful political protest and spiritual perfection. He reduced his personal needs, almost becoming an ascetic. He lived frugally and acted to dignify physical labor. The Boer War over, Gandhi felt drawn to India. He sailed home, returning in 1901. He took part in the annual session of the Indian National Congress. Advised by Gokhale, he undertook a discovery of India through an extensive journey. But Gandhi was summoned once again by his friends in South Africa. On his return to Natal, Gandhi set up an ashram and named it Phoenix. This was the first of many such hermitages he was to establish. The idea was to form a self-sufficient, socially responsible, moral community. Gandhi was immediately drawn into a whirl of activities. The day-to-day life at the Phoenix farm was strenuous enough, but Gandhi responded spontaneously to events like the Zulu Rebellion. The Zulu Rebellion brought home to him the horrors of violence. Gandhi remained the rallying point for all Indians in South Africa facing racial subjugation. About this time, Gandhi took a vow of celibacy. He felt a life of flesh incompatible with a life of spirit. His theories of nonviolence would spring from his vow of chastity. Gandhi never underestimated the difficulties that a non-violent satyagrahi would encounter, but never for a moment did he waver in the belief that satyagraha alone could ensure enduring victory. Gandhi entered into a stimulating correspondence with Tolstoy, who reassured him that his work in South Africa and spiritual concerns were of the greatest significance to humanity. It was during this phase that Gandhi wrote Hind Swaraj, a 30,000-word treatise on India and the need for self-rule. Gokhale visited South Africa at Gandhi's invitation and received a hero's welcome. During his month-long stay, Gandhi served as his secretary.